What is going on, guys? Matt Downs with Daily Grind Fantasy Sports to help give you the edge for this NBA huge 11-game slate. Cannot wait to break it down. This video is officially sponsored by Jock Market. If you guys want to be entered into the $25 giveaway that we do every single Friday on this stream, please like, subscribe, and also comment your favorite GPP play for this slate. If you guys are brand new to this channel, we provide both free and paid content for all daily fantasy sports across all sports. If you could please show your support by hitting that subscribe button, notification bell, and of course smashing that like button for all of our future NBA content. If you would like to know more about becoming a better DFS player and taking down that big GPP, head over to www.patreon.com/dgfantasy for more information. On Patreon, we give advanced cheat sheets for all DFS sports on DraftKings. These cheat sheets include updated projections, ownership, and our overall favorite plays from slate to slate. We take it a step further by teaching you how to play fantasy sports like a shark, by showing you where the best leverage spots are to put you in the best spots to take down tourneys. Also included is our private Discord chat where you get to talk over the slate with everyone, including our coaches, to help build your lineups. Now let's go ahead and dive right into this NBA 11-game slate, but first you guys know we have to go over some Patreon success stories. Had a lot of them all over our esports, NBA content yesterday, CSGO, everything. $9 into $100, $2 into 41, $207 overall for this user. We had another close takedown, $3 and at 60, got 18th place out of 5.9k. Congrats to that user. Also in NBA, we also had some soccer content. We don't actually provide the ownerships or projections, but in our Discord chat they talk about their favorite plays all day, every single day. $150 into 500, had 195 turned into 565 overall. Another takedown here in League of Legends, and yet again a League of Legends takedown, the $125 takedown. So congrats to all those users. I'm going to be going over the injury report, so sit tight, guys. It's a very big one. Also, at the very end of this video, we're going to be providing my favorite super draft plays and also my favorite Jock Market plays. So I just thought about combining all of my content into one single video. So if you guys haven't signed up for Jock Market, first of all, what are you doing? DGF20, one of the easiest ways to play daily fantasy sports. Same thing with Super Draft. Head down to the link in the description. If you just follow that link, it leads you right into the promo. It's a 50% match up to $500. So $500 just goes into your account the more you play. Makes no sense if you guys aren't taking advantage of that promo. If you don't know what Super Draft is, I have a video on my channel explaining exactly what it is. Also a very easy way to play daily fantasy sports. That being said, let's dive right into the slate. We have Detroit here without Delon Wright, Killian Hayes, and Okafor. Nothing really going on there. Charlotte, nothing going on. Devontae Graham should suit up in this matchup. We also have Boston with Langford just out. So all the major superstars there for Boston are back and ready to roll. Brooklyn, we have Jeff Green, questionable. So that's something we have to pay attention to. TLC is doubtful. Kevin Durant still out, and then Blake Griffin, their new addition, is not suiting up tonight. We will see him here in a couple days. With Atlanta, we have Dunn, Hunter, and Reddish out. They've been out for a while, so not really impacting that picture. The big team that we have to be paying attention to here is the Toronto Raptors. Terrence Davis is questionable. If he's held out, that's going to shake things up a lot more than it already has. Harris, Anunoby, Flynn, McCall, Siakam, and Van Vliet are still out for Toronto. So in a pace-up spot versus Atlanta, definitely love the Toronto picture. We're going to be paying attention there. Also, a great team to target here a little bit down the line is going to be Minnesota. Culver, Beasley, McLaughlin, and Russell all out for these guys. With New Orleans, just JJ Redick out. We're going to be paying attention to that game. And then yet another team we're going to hone in on. We have Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons. Unfortunately, due to the COVID protocols, they weren't able to play in the All-Star game, and now they're still not able to play in this game against Chicago. Definitely going to be looking at Philly because one of my favorite plays is in that game. With Chicago, all these guys are back except for Dotson, so I'm going to be avoiding Chicago for like the first time this season. Not a fan of Chicago in this matchup. With Orlando, we have Aaron Gordon, questionable. If he's held out, that's going to shake up things. Cole Anthony's still out. Ennis and Fournier are also out. With Miami, Adebayo and Bradley are out for them as well. New York, it's going to be Rivers, Mitchell Robinson, and D Rose still out for these guys. Taj Gibson is questionable. If he is held out, that's going to shake things up there for New York. With Milwaukee, nothing going on. Dallas, same thing. They're playing on a back-to-back. OKC, Ariza, Diallo, and George are out. That doesn't really impact the picture just because those aren't too good. Those aren't aren't really high usage guys there with OKC. With Golden State, Wiseman is questionable. If he's held out, that will shake things up there. With the Clippers, nothing really going on there. With Phoenix, we have Cam Johnson. He is still out. That does impact Phoenix just a little bit. With Portland, we have Collins, Giles, McCollum, and Nurkic out. Last but not least, the Houston Rockets, late night hammer here. Christian Wood is ruled out. He should be back relatively soon. Exum, House, Kurux, and Nwaba out for these guys. If Aaron Gordon does sit, that's going to impact the Houston picture because we love targeting teams here versus Sacramento. Last but not least, with Sacramento, we have Whiteside and Woodard out for them. Doesn't really impact the picture there. I'm on my Super Draft tab. Let me get off of this and let's start breaking down the slate. So with Toronto, that's one of the teams we want to talk about. They're in a pace-up spot here versus Atlanta. They're going to draw a bunch of chalk, and we're actually getting ownership updates live here. So I can tell you guys right now, Kyle Lowry is still going to carry a decent amount of ownership. However, he doesn't rate too well on their sheet. When we take a look at the usage bump, only 26.6% usage and a 1.18 fantasy point per minute player here with these guys off the court. That 8.6K price tag is very expensive. I do like him, and I do think you have to play him in cash contests, but be wary of his upside. He's not known to go off for really more than 49-ish points. He had the 58 here against Houston, but they had to put up 122 points for that to happen. But again, his ceiling is just not that high. So Kyle Lowry, yes, he's a cash option, just not that high on him in tournaments. Bembry, 25.75 projected minutes is what we have him at right now. As long as he plays minutes, 3.4K, another great value play. Does benefit. We have him a 6 point per dollar value, so I do love him here. I think he's a good cash play, 19.5% ownership. Same thing with Powell, 16.8% ownership and a very good play here, 6 point per dollar value. And then last but not least, Stanley Johnson. If he's actually playing 29 minutes, he's not a good fantasy point per minute player, only averaging 0.58 fantasy points per minute. But again, pace up spot, 3.5K, very, very cheap. I think he's another good cash filler here, a 6.7 point per dollar value. So the rest of these guys, Boucher is going to be a GPP option, and then also Aaron Baines at 1.7% ownership. Actually doesn't rate too bad on the sheet as well, a 5.5 point per dollar value. Let's jump around to the Minnesota game. This is a very high over-under, the highest on the slate right now, a 238.5 over-under. So by far the highest on the slate. The next highest is actually Boston and Brooklyn. We will get to them here in a little bit. But all these guys are going to be good value plays, and more so for GPPs here. Cat is showing 8.6% ownership in a pace-up spot. I think this is a fantastic spot for Karl Anthony Towns, so therefore I think he's a great GPP option. But the cash options from this team, Jake Layman, 26 minutes, 3.3K, a lot of value plays here to start the slate, and I think he's a good one. If he's playing 26 minutes at that min price tag in a pace-up spot, absolutely love him, a 6.4 point per dollar value. Noel, also not that bad of a play, 3.9K and a 6.7 point per dollar value, a better fantasy point per minute player than Jake Layman. If we actually take a look at the chart, he averages 1.01 fantasy points per minute and a 25.8% usage rate. So I absolutely love him. I think he's a better player than Layman. Layman only averaging 0.76 fantasy points per minute. But they're both very viable options, projected right about the same exact minutes. Moving down the line, let's switch over to the other side. We have JJ Redick out for these guys, but keep in mind this is a very good pace-up spot. All of these guys should be in great ceiling potential spots. Brandon Ingram are only averaging 1.13 fantasy points per minute with JJ Redick off the court. But again, keep in mind, against Minnesota, they're projected to put up 123 points, which is the most on the slate. 8.4K, I'm going to prefer Brandon Ingram. However, I don't mind Zion Williamson, who's showing 0.1% ownership, which is just unreal. 9.3K price tag. It's hit that, and pretty much he has hit it in the past 6 contests. So I still love him for consistency. I love him for upside, and I think he's a great play here on the slate. Eric Bledsoe is the one guy I want to talk about, a 5.6K price tag. Yes, he doesn't rate the best on our sheet fantasy point per minute wise, but 12.7% ownership. I think he's a fantastic GPP option. NAW, also not that bad of an option here. 16 minutes though. It's a pace-up spot just for GPPs. Josh Hart, Steven Adams, Lonzo Ball, also very good GPP options in this matchup. Switching last but not least to the last bit of chalk here we have, it's going to be with Philly. So we have a lot of good plays in this matchup, and I want to talk specifically about Tobias Harris and Shake Milton. Shake Milton showing the best option on our sheet in terms of value, a 6.3 point per dollar value at a 5.3K price tag. Let's actually take a look at his fantasy points per minute. 1.11 fantasy points per minute and a 30.7% usage rate with Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons off the court. Very aggressive. I love him and Tobias Harris because they are the ball handlers here on this team with those guys off the court, and it looks like Shake Shake Milton's actually not showing that good of ownership. I do consider him cash viable, but I think he's more viable for GPPs. Probably my favorite GPP option on the entire slate. Also, Tobias Harris, 25.6% ownership is very cash viable. I wouldn't let this price tag scare you. I know that's very, very expensive when you look at that just with the naked eye. But again, he's averaging 1.22 fantasy points per minute, and Tobias Harris plays the entire game. 38 projected minutes is what we have him at right now. Korkmaz, he's been known to bite a lot of us in the butt here whenever he's chalk. He's showing chalk. Right now, he's only projected at 19 minutes. Not a fan if he's only playing 19 minutes. Seth Curry, not showing the best fantasy point per minute wise output, but still at a 5.2K price tag, 35 minutes. You gotta love that. As long as he's hot, playing in the pace of spot, don't mind him. And then I have to talk about Danny Green. Yes, he's a shooter in the pace of spot. 4.7K though is a little bit too expensive. He has to get hot to meet that price tag. Just GPP option here for me. Now let's go ahead and hear a word from our sponsor.
Jock Market is one of the most innovative ways to play daily fantasy sports today. Just like the real stock market, Jock Market allows you to buy and sell players to earn profit based on their performances throughout the day and night. They are currently offering a variety of sports where you can enter their markets and buy them for potential gains. Unlike normal other DFS sites, once the slate starts, you can make numerous changes to your stocks by buying new players you think will continue to perform well or sell players you think are going to underperform.
Right now, they are running every sport with overlay, which gives you an easier chance to win than other major DFS platforms. Download Jock Market now on the App Store and use code DGF to receive a $20 deposit bonus. Be sure to subscribe here for all future Jock Market content. The one good thing about this slate is all the GPP options are within the cash games that we want to target, but I want to talk about a couple of other games that are going to be flying under the radar. Boston in the pace of spot, projected to score 116 points. You want to target superstars in that matchup. Love Jaylen Brown, Kemba Walker, and Jason Tatum, just again because of the pace of spot versus Brooklyn. We know Brooklyn plays no defense whatsoever, and they're only 2-point favorites here in this matchup. With all the superstars back with Boston, I do like this matchup a lot to target for very low ownership. And I also love the other side of the ball. Yes, Kevin Durant is still out, and then you add TLC and Blake Griffin and possibly Jeff Green to the injury report. So I do like these guys for low ownership right now. James Harden is showing 19%, but Kyrie Irving showing 4.9% ownership. So I don't get that one. Very, very low. Love him for a target for GPPs. And then last but not least, let's talk about the Houston-Sacramento game, the late night hammer. They're all showing very low ownership, and they're still benefiting without injuries. If Eric Gordon is held out, which he could definitely be held out, love this game to target for very low ownership and very high ceiling potential. John Wall, Oladipo is the definition of boom or bust. Right now, they're the exact same price tag. John Wall is slightly better in fantasy point per minute wise, but Victor Oladipo has been on a roll, 8.4% ownership. And then switching over to the Sacramento side, always targeting somebody like Fox, 9.1K. Nobody's going to be touching him at that price tag. And then we love shooters and pace of spots, talking about Buddy Hield. So love that game for low ownership. Those are going to be my favorite GPP options. But again, my GPP options are staying within the Toronto, Minnesota, Pelicans, and Philly rosters. So but outside of those are going to be my favorite plays. Let's switch over to some of my favorite super draft plays. As of right now, of course, you guys know our projections change throughout the day. If you guys want to take advantage of that, sign up for Patreon, www.patreon.com/DGFantasy to get all of our updated projections and ownership. But starting at the top here, we have Powell, 1.5 times multiplier. That is really, really high. We have him projected right now at 64.41 points. Kawhi Leonard has a multiplier of 1.25. Don't really get that. 63.89 points. Tobias Harris, somebody we've already talked about in terms of DraftKings, has a multiplier as well at a 1.35 times multiplier if he's playing 38 minutes. Absolutely insane. Right now, we have him projected 62.59 points. Last but not least, Chris Middleton always has a high multiplier. Never makes any sense. He is the definition of boom or bust, but at a 1.4 times multiplier, it's definitely easy for him to have a very, very high ceiling there. Switching over to my favorite Jock Market plays. Again, if you guys haven't signed up for Jock Market, what are you doing? Easiest money to be made. All these players are in the form of stock. You take a buy low candidate and expect him to rise throughout the night based on his performance, and you make money based off of it. Very fun, very efficient. Love the way that this format works. Let's sort by value. Right now on the left side here, we have the Jock Market ranking. As long as my ranking's higher, I expect them to rise, and you earn a higher rate of return on these players. So when I sort by value, starting here with Michael Carter Williams, just doesn't make sense. 77th spot right now. We have him expected to finish around the 53 rank. You won't earn too much of a rate of return just because he's not finishing within the top 30-ish players, but he still will get you a return if he really does jump 24 minutes. He's playing starter minutes now. We have a lot of pending injury news on that team. If Aaron Gordon is held out, I love him so much more. So right now, it's my favorite value play. DeAndre Jordan just sitting in the 62 spot, expected to jump up about 18 spots, so love him in the 44 spot. Actually, let me take a peek here at his minutes because I want to see if they're projecting him to play starter minutes as of right now with Jeff Green on the court. If Jeff Green's held out, yeah, so they have Jeff Green at 28 minutes right now and Jordan also at 28 minutes. So if Jeff Green doesn't play, love the ceiling potential on DeAndre Jordan even more so. So that is definitely something we're going to be paying attention to. And Kawhi Leonard is always misplaced here on Jock Market. Right now we have him in the 20th spot, or Jock Market has him in the 20th spot, but we have him projected to finish in the top 5, which is just crazy. It's Kawhi Leonard that's a superstar. He does not deserve that 20th spot, so love him to jump 15 spots. Covington, pace of spot, love him too for value. And then also Andrew Wiggins, just 64 is just very, very low for him. Somebody who plays 35-ish minutes every single night. And those will be my favorite Jock Market plays. You guys know these change throughout the day. During the IPO phase, all these guys shift around, but those are it. Again, use the code DGF20 for a free $20 bonus here when you sign up using our code on Jock Market. And that will end my video, guys. Hopefully you did enjoy this video. If you did, please do hit that subscription button, notification bell, and of course smash that like button for all of our future Jock Market NBA content. With all that being said, have a great rest of your day, and let's cash.